What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite New York Jets subscription podcast, Badlands. I'm your host, Joe Caporoso. A very special Sunday AM coffee, joined by Jets Twitter legend, I would say, Jude Truth. We've been following each other, interacting for a while, doing a little home and home podcast. So hopefully by this time, this is running Sunday. You heard me on the middle initial podcast.
Yes.
Jude, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Wait, what happened to how you doing? How you feeling?
I try to save that. To save that for CR, but it's fair. It's a fair request. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. It's a great July. It was pretty hot in the middle of summer for some reason, but it's nice and cool now. I'm enjoying myself. It's quiet for once with the Jets, so I'm happy.
It's kind of quiet. Kind of quiet. So what we're going to do in today's Sunday Coffee, we're going to take a break from our positional series breakdown. We're going to give our, as it stands in early July, predictions for the season, records as they sit now. Then I'm going to ask you a question about how the hell you ended up being a Jets fan. And then you can ask me any type of similar question. And then we're going to jump over and record your pod. However, at the top, I am on week 3. Magic Mind. I actually had this legitimately like 20 days in a row. So I'm going to shout out that it has been very effective and 100% safe. Not a coffee replacement. Little time release caffeine. Doctors validated over 200 scientific studies with mushrooms organically grown in California. Matcha, highest possible grade. Nano encapsulation technology, which sounds so fancy. You know it has to be good. Donate 5 cents for each bottle sold to mental health charities that help U.S. homeless communities and 100% carbon neutral. Limited offer. You can use now. Gets up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time purchase with the code Badlands20 at checkout. Again, up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time purchase with code Badlands20. It is how I record a podcast literally every single day, and 2 podcasts today. And then I'm actually recording with Boy Green at like 4 a.m. tomorrow. So I'm stringing them together. All right, Jude. This is going to run, I think it's like July 8th. It's July 8th. So I want to ask you, what's your prediction for the Jets record this season and why? What is it? You could change it when we get to August, but for July, what is it? What is your prediction?
So my most optimistic prediction, it's going to sound crazy because if you follow me on Twitter, you might be like, oh my God, this guy's a pessimist. But my most optimistic prediction is 14-3. I think if everyone is healthy, and Coach Saleh doesn't get in the way of Aaron Rodgers and Hackett just goes off somewhere, I don't know. I think the Jets at the apex could be 14-3. Realistically, though, I think they're more at 11-6.
11-6 is kind of where I've been settling around. That's been my like boilerplate July answer when people ask me. I feel like that's about right. I want to be a little more aggressive than 10 wins. I don't want to go as crazy as 12 or 13 wins yet. I feel like 11-6 is the right number and probably is enough to win the AFC East, pending they win the right head-to-head matchups with Buffalo, with Miami. They don't trip over themselves against New England. 11 feels rational enough to me at this point. If they go 14-3, man, you'd be talking about legitimately like the best regular season in franchise history. They haven't been that kind of team since '98. Look, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's just as fair to say they could go 14-3 if you think there's a world that they're going to go 6-11 or 7-10. But that means you get a very special Aaron Rodgers season. Are you anticipating that type of very special Aaron Rodgers season? What are you expecting from the Jets' 41-year-old quarterback?
So the thing is, with the 14-3 prediction, it's pretty much beat the teams they're supposed to be. Like, if you look at the schedule right now, Jets played the AFC South, they played the NFC West. There's not that many teams I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared of the Jets playing. Like, they should be outright favored in most of those games, if like 80% of those games. So that's where I'm going. Just beat the teams they're supposed to beat, lose a couple of games. But with Rodgers, it's a couple of things. For its Super Bowl, I think Rodgers has to be, say, a top 15 quarterback. I know it's crazy to say top 15-esque. If the defense keeps up what they've been doing, I honestly think, because look at what we've done the past 2 years with Zach Wilson and a bunch of NPCs. They won 7 games and the offense was actively trying to lose the game for them. Get someone that can, pass the ball, complete a forward pass, make all the balls, crazy things like that. then yes, I think it's reasonable to expect a couple playoff wins. I think realistically, it's so weird because it's like we haven't seen Rodgers play in 2 years, so it's like
I know
there's so much unknown. I think as long as he's not 2015 Peyton Manning, I think we should expect a relatively good season. Now, if he completely just falls off and dies, then yeah. But other than that,
we got way bigger problems than that. Look, I think he's going to start 13, 14 games. I think he'll be one of the like 9 to 10 best quarterbacks in the league, and I think that's probably 11-6. And if he's healthy and right in the playoffs, he could be the best player on the field in any given game, and that's what you're telling yourself if you're a Jets fan at this point. And I think it's okay to be optimistic. I don't think it's irrational if you look at the team on paper. I try to stay as pragmatic as I can, but on paper, it's a good team. It's one of the best rosters in the AFC. So it's handle your business, have the coaching staff stay out of the way. Now,
that's the big thing.
How did you find yourself being a Jets fan? And more importantly, how did you find yourself in this sort of Jets Twitter ecosystem over the past, I don't know, it's been like 7, 8, 9 years now. There's a picture of us at a Jets game from like 2015.
2015, yes. So pretty much how I became a Jets fan, I actually didn't follow sports at all until I went down to NC State, North Carolina State University. I saw them dominate Western Carolina. I'm like, oh my God, this is fun. I love football. So I'm like, okay, let me pick a football team to watch. At the time, Carolina was absolutely awful. So I was like, and I saw the Jets record. I was like, what? They were like 6-2, something crazy like that. I think my first game watching was the 9-0 game with Aaron Rex Ryan, the fake punt, 9-0, that wonderful 4th and 26 fake punt. It's like, yeah, I'm sold. So I started watching. I was like, oh, this is the best. This is great. This is what I should be looking forward to. The Jets are this consistently good team. And then I realized, no, they're not. And I realized that was the apex of my fandom, pretty much. The second best moment might have been Ryan Fitzpatrick here, and then I went up to Buffalo and I became the Joker. And I saw that game, and I'm like, yeah, I can't expect much more from this team. If they make the playoffs, I'm happy. Do whatever you want once you get there. So
listen, I was roped into really launching a website full time from the 2010 run, right? I was a Jets fan my whole life, but I started to turn the Jets post 2010 run, thinking this was going to be every single year, and then made the playoffs since. And now Badlands is here because we made a podcast about having a ridiculously long playoff drought, and the rest is history. Now you throw a question at me. Yes. I need the question on the home and home here on the Sunday Coffee.
My question for you would be, so what year did you become a fan? And have you ever thought about leaving and just being like, you know what, I'm just going to go full neutral? I've thought about that a couple of times myself, so I'm just curious.
I officially became a Jets fan. The first game I ever went to was actually, sadly, the Dennis Byrd game where he got paralyzed. It was in like 1993. I was 6 years old. My uncle took me. And I started going to games like every year and pretty regularly as a 6, 7, 8-year-old. So I played football like starting as a 5-year-old when you were allowed to play tackle football and you were 5. So I love football. Became a huge Jets fan. I used to go to games every single year. I went to the 98 playoff game. And it's just something I love so much since I was a kid. I've never really thought about switching fandom. Although, again, like you hit a certain point with this drought and the frustration of losing, where I did think about giving up the whole like turn on the Jets thing like for a while. I was just like, I can't really do this anymore. It was like around that like 2017, like 2018, 2019. And then like, again, that was one of those things where it's like, they hired him and I knew they were going to be terrible for the next 2 years. And it was like, I got to subject myself, not just to being a fan, but like talking about it every single day when I knew it wasn't going to work. And then honestly, doing Badlands kind of pumped like new life into it because again, you do the same thing long enough to turn the Jets. It was like 11 years of writing the 12-pack, writing articles, doing the same pod format. So the fandom was never going anywhere. I would love for the fandom to like get back to winning playoff games and like winning games that matter. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I think I do think they will break the playoff drought this year, even if it's like a 9-8 sneak in as a wild card, which
I don't care.
Disappointing. But I think they end the playoff drought this year. If they don't, they better fire everybody up and down the entire organization. I mean, we might, could be new owner, new head coach, new GM, depending on how the next few months go. So we could have a full clean slate.
I just want to say for that 2020 season, that was the first year we started our pod. And it got so boring to talk about the Jets because every game was literally the same. Yes, the offense sucked. The defense sucked. The special teams was whatever. No one cared.
Losing by 20 or 30 points.
Every single game. And I was convinced, and I don't know if you believe me, but I'm convinced teams did not practice against the Jets. I'm legit convinced when the Jets were on their schedule, they did not practice. Like the Chiefs game, you cannot tell me they practiced a single snap. No one.
No. Some of those games that year, man, like it was just like, what are we even talking about here? And like we've had plenty of seasons where you got to talk draft in October and like November, but man, it's good to be on the reverse. I would love for the teams to be like 5-2, 7-3, 10-5, like where they're going towards the playoffs and you can really talk football and talk matchups and then just normal stuff that podcasters are supposed to talk about. So I'll give you now, again, I'm going to encourage everyone, listen to the Middle Initial podcast. That will have dropped before this. We're recording this Monday night. This is going to run on the Badlands feed Sunday. When is the episode going to run on the Middle Initial pod feed?
Most likely Tuesday, Wednesday, if I had to guess. So Tuesday or Wednesday, you'll see the episode.
Got it. So people, you can watch War Room. You squeeze in your Middle Initial episode with me. Then you listen to the pod. Then you enjoy your 4th of July. Everybody's happy.
Yes.
All right, Jude. I like 14-3. You're the only person I've ever brought on this pod who's been more optimistic than Dalbin. And I got a Dalbin episode that dropped this past Thursday, and even he didn't go to 14-3. So
everything goes right. Hackett goes somewhere. Salah stays out of the way. That's everything going right because the teams we're playing aren't that imposing. The thing that'll mess the Jets up is how it's scheduled. Like I've never seen a team have 2 Thursday night games and they'll short like Monday, Sunday, Thursday, and it happens twice. So it's like that's the thing that'll mess the Jets up more than like who they play because I could see the Jets kind of tripping up a little bit. Had to go on a tangent a little bit.
It is a very bizarre schedule. It's probably the most bizarre schedule I've ever seen in my life. All right, Sunday AM coffee done in the books. Another whole week of content coming. Thank you, Badlands. Hope you enjoyed your weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you, Jude, for joining us.
Anytime.